Hi there, this is Terry, and welcome to the Animation Industry Podcast. This chat is with Daniel Virgüez, who is currently studying for his PhD in international stop-motion co-production, and he might just end up being the most educated person in stop-motion in the world, since I've never heard of a PhD in stop-motion before. But besides what he is doing his thesis on, Daniel is also going to share his journey from growing up in Colombia, discovering stop-motion at an early age, and then packing up everything he had to move to France in 2011 to look for new opportunities to keep working in the medium. Currently, he works at XBO Films on a French stop-motion show called Kiwi, and obviously he's studying for his PhD there as well. Plus, he is a member of an artist association called the Guayabo Colectivo. I probably butchered how to say that. And he's currently in the process of creating a fantastic and easy way for stop-motion professionals to collaborate worldwide. So he's going to chat all about that too. But before we jump in, I have a sponsored message to share with you, and it comes from my friends over at Hue HD, who offer an all-in-one starter kit for kids around 7 to 13 years old, or really any beginner when it comes to animation. Their kit includes an easy and fun way to learn key animation techniques, including claymation, lip-syncing, and rotoscoping. The kit includes a colorful Hue HD camera with a bendy gooseneck, built-in microphone, and manual focus. It also includes their easy-to-use animation software, which has some great features like onion skinning and time-lapse, and kids can even record their own voices to bring their animations to life. Also part of the kit is the Hue Book of Animation, which takes you step-by-step through how to create your own stop-motion videos. Plus, you can download free sound effects, a storyboard template, and backgrounds to give your videos some added magic. And if you want more info about this kit, or you want to purchase one yourself, you can check it out on the Hue website or order one off Amazon, and I've included links to both of these in the description of this chat. One more thing now, Hue has created a free little download package for any listener of this podcast. They've included a storyboard template in the package, as well as a sample background for your next claymation, a short instructional video on how to squash and stretch a simple character with clay to make it bounce, and even a super cute printable phenakistoscope of a rat going into a hole. And a phenakistoscope, if you're not aware, is one of those little circle things with slits in it that when you put it on a stick and spin it in a mirror, you can see the animation come to life. So if you know someone interested in trying out stop motion for the first time, or you want to yourself, definitely check out this free download package. The link is in the description of this podcast. Now let's jump into the chat. Hi, Dan. What's going on? How are you?
Hello, Terry. Hi. What's up?
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
having me here.
So you're calling in from France, and I'm in Toronto. I love how this podcast is like building me connections with people all the way around the world.
Yeah, it's actually fun. Here it's like 8 in the evening, and I'm here in Toulouse in France. Yeah.
Wow. But you're not from France originally. Originally, you came from Colombia, and I don't think I've talked to somebody who's pursued stop motion and educating themselves in stop motion maybe as much as you have, because you're getting a PhD in a stop motion related field as well. So I'm wondering, as we go through the chat and we kind of talk about your journey and why you're doing things, at the end of the day, like, what can somebody keep in mind as they listen to your story that you're pursuing? Like, what has brought you to the depths of stop motion to take you halfway across the world and pursue higher education as well? Doctor stop motion, we can call you.
Dr. Stop Motion. Yeah, no, it's fun because I just love this animation technique, and I started when I was like 7 years old, and I don't know. Then I started studying cinema. Actually, at the beginning was like cinema, video production, and it was until I was doing my master in France that I realized that was the thing that I loved, was stop motion. And
you were doing a master's in what?
In infographics. Yeah, like After Effects and yeah. And then I did another kind of diploma here. It's called DURCA, DURCA, which means like a diploma of research in audiovisual field. So it's like you have to start like researching something that you like, and I was like researching about movement, and then I just keep doing it in the stop motion, and now I'm doing a PhD in international co-production in stop motion films.
Wow. I definitely want to chat about what this PhD entails and what it's giving you. But at the end of the day, you have professional experience in stop motion. You're getting all this education. Is there your education when you're finished? What is that thing that you want to do with your career, or want to become? Like, do you want to become a director, a studio owner, a stop motion animator, like producer? Like, is there something that you're working towards?
Yeah, I think producer is the most obvious way that I'm going to take, because the PhD that I'm taking it's like to be a consultant in production, international co-production. So I think that at the end of the day, my dream is like making different countries work together in a stop motion movie, because it's like it's going to be like, I don't know, we're going to find out different materials, different stories, the whole universe that is going to be out the boundaries of the establishment of the aesthetics right now in animation. Like we only have like big studios working in stop motion movies, and everybody's like wondering like, wow, what is the next Leica film or Artman. But there is a lot of countries that have a lot of potential, and they can't explore it because they don't have the money or the knowledge, but they have the ideas. And the only thing that they need is to start to work together to start making more movies. And that is, I think, that is the thing that everybody's wanting to see, like more movies in stop motion and different aesthetics and different materials. Yeah,
Right. Well, I think that's amazing. And it's, especially with social media these days, there's so many stop motion artists from other countries kind of popping up and making a name for themselves. It's incredible. What do you think it would take to say, you mentioned Aardman and Leica, for them to form a partnership with another country, like maybe like Korea or Colombia or France or something, to create a partnership movie, versus like what would be the incentive be for them when you mentioned that they have money versus other countries may not have money, but they have different stories to tell.
Yeah, I think that for example, Leica and Artman, they have the industry of animation in their countries, so they have all the machinery to make a movie and with a really good quality. But the scripts are getting like really standard, like getting into something really obvious. And maybe it's because they want to win money and they go for the big bucks. But in other countries, I don't know, like Egypt or Colombia or I don't know, Argentina, there is something different that make creators they give the creators this feeling to create, and it's something different. I don't know how to say it, but it's different. It's not money anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that this feeling, that this emotion is needed in some scripts in Laika or in Ireland, I think. So maybe it's the complementation that they need.
So with your research and your PhD, I want to talk a lot about that, but I'm just, maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself. Are there trends in stop motion in different countries right now that you see are emerging and building up
Actually,
versus?
actually, I think that everywhere there is a trending in stop motion, but we don't have access because we only have this bubble in where we are like looking for. So I don't know how it works in United States, but in France we have these logarithms, like you only can see the things that you like, and it's really hard to find out something new. So I was I was in a trip in Egypt like last year, and I find out it's a really small universe, but a whole universe in stop motion artist there, and it was beautiful. Actually, everybody's like working together in their houses, and they don't know each other, and they live in the same city. So I was like meeting all these artists, and I was asking them like, "Hey, do you know Asem?" And they say like, "No, I don't know him. I follow him. He's really good, but I never meet him." And I say, "Okay, we're going to make like the first meetup, stop motion meetup." So we call it super stop motion super meetup, and there were like, I don't know, 20 stop motion artists, and they were like, "Ah, you are awesome, I follow you, you're so great. Ah, you're Dina, you're so great." And they were really happy, and we make like this meeting, and everybody were happy. That was, yeah, the thing in every country, we need to do this, like meeting and just knew each other.
Yeah, well, especially kind of artists are a little bit introverted sometimes and don't want to plan these things too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like this is, I love that you created a meetup, but do you think you're kind of at the forefront of this happening on a grander scale over different countries? Because as we're becoming more global and stop motion is getting a lot of attention lately, of course, we're in a pandemic right now, so things are a little bit stagnant,
Yeah.
or maybe this is the perfect time to foster those connections. I don't know. How are you seeing, uh, I don't even know if I just asked the question, but
No, I'm completely agree with you. I believe that the stop motion is getting more attention right now, and for that reason, I'm making this PhD to understand how can I improve this industry. So if there is an easier way to make a contract, or an easier way to pay taxes, or some program to work together in an artistic residency, or something that I have to look for, because I don't have it. I don't have found it yet, but I'm looking for it. But yeah, no, I think that there is a lot of a new stop motion Facebook groups. There is a lot of new fanzines in stop motion in different languages. There is a lot of stop motion production by small enterprises and small artists that want to just to get fun. So yeah, it's like growing and growing and growing, and in a moment, it's going to take a place in like 3D industry took it like, I don't know, like 15 years ago or something, or 10 years ago. Now it's a stop motion time.
yeah.
And yeah.
It's yeah, I like what you said about 3D because that happened so fast because it was this new technology that everybody wanted. And now it almost feels like there's this resurgence of stop motion because it's getting back to the, this nostalgic root for a lot of people. It's interesting, it stands out versus all the 3D and 2D out there. So I hope this continues because that would be awesome. So okay, maybe let's backtrack a little bit because we kind of glossed over your story a little bit where you came from Columbia and you went and got your master's and PhD. And you said this journey began for you when you were 7 years old. What propelled you to really say, stop motion is my thing as a kid and then pursue it so hard? I mean, before this chat, we were talking about some of the sacrifices you've made over the years, and it's quite incredible, how far you've come. So I don't know where you want to start, but just, I think all of it's interesting. So maybe you just want to start sharing.
I don't know. I can say that was my mom that took me to my first clay sculpture class when I was 7 years old. And it looks like I was like, I don't know, was getting fun in that classes. Saturday mornings, actually. Was hard to get up. But yeah, that was the beginning, and then I love it. I love to see cartoons. It's like kid stuff. So why not to work in that? And that one was my first question. And when I was like, I don't know, like 14 years old, I started giving classes to other kids in to make clay sculpture. And yeah, that was the time that I was starting to take lessons with the master of stop motion in Colombia, which is Edgar Humberto Alvarez, my first stop motion teacher. And since I work with him, I keep working in stop motion until
Did you take a course by him or?
yeah. I was like the puppet in the pixelation classes
Ah,
when I was like 9 years old or something. Yeah,
it's pretty incredible.
yeah. No, yeah. I have videos in like in really bad quality when a lot of people like was moving me and making like pixelation with me swimming in the grass. Yeah.
Nice. So what is the industry kind of like in Colombia? Because I know there are quite a few TV productions there. And can you just give an overview of, I guess, what's happening?
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's funny because in the early 90s was like a small stop motion production in clay, and was similar in Egypt actually in the early 90s. And there were also like a series in clay motion, but that stopped. I don't know why. Just stops, like no more production. And then we're like yeah, small productions like for commercial stuff or for some musical videos, but not like series or movies. There is not actually there is not right now there is not a stop motion movie in Colombia right now.
So when you were growing up and, you had this amazing mentor teacher and you were involved in some projects and you wanted to keep pursuing that, did you see a lot of opportunity to stay in Colombia and become an animator there?
No, actually no. For the reason I study cinema, like yeah, traditional video production. And yeah, that was the beginning, and in the National University of Colombia. So for that reason I left a little bit the animation, because there wasn't like a stop motion school. And yeah, that was a shame, but I came to France, so it was cool.
So, but I guess about the time you came to France, most of the stop motion was being done in the States. So why did you decide to go to France?
Yeah, well, in France the education is like really cheap.
Mm.
And you can like for a year of like yeah for 1 year you can pay like 400 euros. Yeah, yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cheap.
moving to France. What the heck?
Yeah, no, that was the winning of the socialism here in the 68. That was the students winning against the neoliberalism. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
So that what I
For
guess
me, it
what
was
did you have to
amazing.
give up to, you saw France as like cheap education that you could pursue. What did you kind of have to give up as you came over? Because I'm assuming you had to leave your family behind and all your connections. You come to France as like a lone person, not knowing anybody.
Yeah, it was kind of funny at the beginning because I didn't know how to speak French, but the funny thing is here in Toulouse is like the Latino city of Europe. It's like Miami of Europe actually. Here I don't know how many Colombians are, but there is a lot. So it was funny to get adapted here. So yeah. At the
So
end, yeah, it was fun. Yeah. And then
nice.
we have internet, so I can call my family whenever I want.
So let's talk about this PhD a little bit then. How is this an established PhD program? Like,
No.
so are you kind of leading the way for what you're doing right now?
Yes, it's here. The PhDs is like you propose something to the laboratory, and then you can have like a director who can like give you some tips or some advices to improve your research. But there is nothing that you have to take a lesson to understand what are you looking for, because like it's like researching, so you have to look for it and that's
Yeah.
it. So I propose to understand how this the motion industry works, and how the internationalization works also. And if I can find out how which internationalization theory works with stop motion industry, I can propose like a method or a path to make the easiest way to create an international co-production.
Okay, so can you explain to me what internationalization theory is in a nutshell?
Yeah, actually, there is like a lot of theories in internationalization, which are like the most of them are made by the United States actually after the 50s when they start working in co-production with Spain and Italy to make the westerns. And yeah, that was the beginning of the international co-production actually. And so they start like making a lot of research to win more money in these kind of co-productions. And yeah, so there is a lot of theories. I'm more interested in the agency theory and the game theory, which are like some theories that you can understand how you can put some like a representation in other country, and you can like control the process of your business over there.
Hmm.
But that can work, I don't know, like in some different areas, like I don't know, something that you can sell merchandising or you can sell stuff. But in a co-production in a stop motion is really hard to understand because it's not a standard way to make stop motion. You can make stop motion with sand, you can make stop motion with clay, you can make stop motion with people, with everything. So it's that is the complex of this standardization, or create a model that everybody can understand and be like comfortable with. So that's my research, and I getting information of people who had made like a successful co-production already. Like for example, I don't know if you know Casa Lobo, which is a Chilean film made in co-production with Germany, or Ma Vie est Courgette, which is a co-production with Swiss and France, and La Traversée, which is another co-production film made between uh, Czech Republic, Germany, and France. And they have this process that they had to develop meanwhile they were creating, because it wasn't a process like a standard process to get into their own. It's like they don't have nothing to learn, but they have to create it meanwhile they are doing the movie, so they can lose money like meanwhile they're discovering how to deal with the problems that they're going to have.
Yeah.
And that it's like more expensive than only have a process to create. And yeah, for the reason I having these interviews and compilating, I don't know how to say that, make a compilation of their experiences and like create a kind of a model with an app to make easier the process of the co-production.
So like I have a good understanding of how, animation is kind of 2D animation or 3D animation is outsourced. The story and storyboards may be written in one country, and then the animation is outsourced to another country, and they have like a good feedback loop to make episodes pretty quickly and under budget. With stop motion, you've listed some productions and kind of said, with the puppets and whatnot, but what is the ideal situation if you were to create a model right now, like country A does X, country B does X, maybe country C does something else? Like what does that look like for you from your
Yeah, I think
perspective?
I think that one of the best models right now it's like the La Traversée model, which is like one country can have access to a small part of the film, so they can make like a short film. The other country is going to make another short film, and the third country is going to make a small short film, so they can divide the budget in three small short films, and then they put it together and they have a long a movie.
How do you, okay, so this is interesting to me because I'm actually in school right now. I'm making a group film in stop motion with my classmates, but because of the pandemic, we have to make separate parts of the same film from our apartments or houses or whatever. So one thing that we are trying to figure out is how to create a consistent look and feel for everybody without having to make 10 sets of the same puppets, and we don't have the same cameras and the same lighting and all that stuff. So how do you make three parts of a film in three different countries while keeping everything consistent? That almost feels more expensive than just shooting it all in one location, because for stop motion you have to have triple the camera, triple the studio space, like all that stuff. So how's that work?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's complicated. It depends, I think, of the script.
Yeah.
If your script can hold that kind of experimentation, you can do it. But
So does that leave only certain stories?
yeah, exactly. So if your script can hold like a different kind of um
Style?
aesthetic,
Yeah.
yeah, that you can just go and experience that, and it's going to be like your own aesthetics. But if you want like a traditional movie where everything is like Disney and everything is going to be like the classic classic scenario, I think it's not the right process that you're going to go with that kind of model.
So it's okay. So, but I'm trying to figure out, because you just said, the perfect model right now that you are working on is country A does a short film, country B does a short film, country C does a short film, but they each kind of look different, right? So is there a way to say, let's make a feature film that looks consistent and feels the same, but still have it co-produced by different countries?
Yeah, I think, well, that is a good question. I think that the best answer is Casalo.
Yeah.
Casalo is like they have his own aesthetics, but it was made like in, I don't know, like four different museums, and they have their own studio, and they build it in every museum, in every different museum.
Hmm.
It was like a portable studio, and the film was worked really well, really really well. Right now he's traveling in well, yeah, like the film is traveling right now in Germany and having some exhibitions over there. Yeah, and they made, I don't know how to explain. They have like how to say that, like I don't know how to say that. It's like the rules,
Yeah. The
the
set
rules of the
processes.
movie. Yeah, the rules of the movie, and when they have the rules of the movie, it's like the scenario of the movie. So if they're going to have, for example, one of the rules was like in every photo you have to move the tripod.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow. That's every single photo.
yeah,
I mean, I haven't seen this, so I'm gonna go look it up. It's
yeah. And
I can't
I
even imagine what
recommend
that
you
looks like.
watching it in the small screen, because it's like wow, yeah,
It's in your
it's
face.
intense. Yeah.
So I'm trying to, like, there's like a difference between commercialized projects which are made for, you know, um, I guess like a TV show or a movie that comes in theaters and has like is expecting to get, its budget back, versus more artistic films. Like, are you talking about both kinds of projects being executed in this way?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that the exploration is going to be like more through the art field,
Yeah.
and that's going to give us a new experience in cinema, actually.
Ah, okay, cool. So from, sorry, how far in are you with your PhD right now?
I'm in my, well, yeah, third year. Yeah.
I would say, are you finishing it in 4 years or?
I hope that it's going to be finished in 2022.
Okay.
I don't know because I normally I going to finish. Well, it wasn't if it wasn't for the COVID, it will be finished in September 21, like
Gotcha.
2021. But I have to, yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, what is the top thing that you've learned or you're exploring right now? If I don't know if you're not able to share that, but I'm very intrigued because you've talked to so many companies, you've looked into these processes. Like, what is that juice that is really interesting out of all this?
I think that is the taxes. The taxes thing is like really interesting stuff
Yeah.
because through the taxes you can understand the industry of every country.
Hmm.
If you pay some taxes and you have more help to develop some industry in a country, normally the partner country must have the same thing to be balanced in the production,
Yeah.
but it doesn't happen like that. So I think that is the interesting thing to put into the table in the moment where the co-production starts, and and figure out how taxes mm, can be something to to wake up the interest in the government of different countries to invest in stop motion films.
So okay, so say I'm country A and I don't have preferable taxes for a stop motion animation studio, but I already have something going and it's very costly, but I'm doing it. How should I partner with a country that gives tax breaks to stop motion specifically? Like, stop motion is such a niche. Are there
Yeah,
countries that group it into animation in general,
yeah.
or?
It's because if you make your country understand that stop motion industry can develop another external industries, like I don't know, for example, to make the machines, to make the camera movements, so you need an engineer, or if you need somebody to make the customs of the puppet, so you need somebody who knows about tissues, or for the decor, I don't know how to say that, the maquettes. So
Backgrounds, sets.
yeah, for the background, you need some architect or something, or so through that kind of excuse, you can make the people in your country understand that it's necessary to make more stop motion movies and make some merchandising through that, and make kids and schools and get interested in stop motion aesthetics, and it's going to give you also some identity of the materials of your country, of the or through the stories that you're going to tell.
Do you have examples of, yeah, because that sounds like a massive undertaking to be like, hey, government, can you create new tax laws around this stop motion thing that my small studio is doing? Like, do you have
Yeah,
examples of how this has happened before?
but actually it works in Colombia like 20 years ago or something, kind of, no, like 15 years ago, like
Hmm.
Colombia in a moment it started making this price to make movies. Yeah, since I don't know, in 2000, I think. And since that moment, the movie industry in Colombia, is getting prizes. They were nominated to the Oscars. They win a lot of prizes in Europe. It's making bigger and bigger, and it's only because the government give money to make some movies.
Gotcha.
So it's possible. It's completely possible.
I still, I mean, that's an amazing example. I'm just thinking for myself, like, I have no idea where to even start lobbying the government. So, okay, so with your, you're getting this PhD, and then hopefully in a couple of years you'll finish it and have all your research and your model together. It sounds almost like you would be a person to come into a project. Say I have a studio, and I would say, like, hey Dan, like what's up? Can you come over and like help me figure out some like production methods and some math and things to really take advantage of what's going on in my country right now, and maybe partner with a different country to figure out how we can work together type of thing? Like is that where you see yourself kind of going into?
Yeah. I think that also with the app that I'm developing,
Yeah.
going to be like a really great tool to make that happen. Like you can see the things on other different country, and you're going to say like, I want to work with him, but who can help me to make this easier? I'm going to call
Super
Daniel.
stop motion meetup. So tell me about this app that you're creating, because I think that's also really cool. You described it to me earlier as like the LinkedIn for stop motion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like LinkedIn for stop motion. It's called Stop Motion Bus,
Like
and
everybody get on the bus.
yeah, and it's like bus stop, then motion, then stop motion, and yeah, it's everybody who gets into the bus is going to have the vision of different artists and different stop motion artists who are in the same bus, and they want to work together. So it's the bus is going in only one direction.
Gotcha. So is this app available right now? Like, can I log in and be like, hey, I'm a stop motion animator from Canada. What's up, everybody?
No, not yet. I think that we're going to start the beta test in like 2 months or 1 month.
Okay.
And yeah, with the information that we're going to have from the professionals of the industry here in Europe, we're going to make some adjust adjustments
Adjustments. Yeah.
adjustments, and yeah, that's I hope that is going to be ready like for the beginning of the next year.
Are you? That's pretty cool. Well, I certainly want to know about this app when it comes out, because maybe I can be a beta test user even.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
of course, of
I
course.
so I'm just thinking about, your career kind of path. Are you going to stay in France, and or are you going to go back to Colombia, or do you even know at this point? Because you also work as a professional stop motion animator as well. So what is your plan for that? And maybe we should talk about some of your experience in that as well. I'm jumping all over the place here. I'm sorry. Let's do one at a time. When you're done your PhD, are you going to go back to Colombia because you are seeing some resurgence in stop motion, or what are your plans?
No, I don't think so. I have this stop motion Facebook group though. It's called Stop Motion Colombia, which it makes me easier the way to understand how stop motion in Colombia works. So yeah, we have some friends over there that told me, and they make some events and it's getting bigger and bigger. But I think that my life here in Europe, it's like being settled. So I don't think I'm going back to Colombia. But yeah, for the instant, I want to make this finish the PhD and start making movies here. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice. So, can you maybe share some of your professional experience in stop motion as well? Because you've worked on
Yeah,
some
of
cool
course.
projects, and
I
projects not in America, which I haven't talked with many people about on this podcast yet. So, I want to dive into that a little bit too.
Yeah, here I worked with two different studios. The first one is it's Double Maître Animation, which is like yeah, stop motion. It's really small studio, and we made a series of it's called Le Kiwi, and it's like a 5 minute series, two birds learning four English words. So it's to learn English to French kids. And I also work with XBO Films. And XBO Films, they make some pilots and really traditional animation. They're really, really good. And we with them, I work with a pilot for a yeah like grown up series of economics, and yeah, it's kind of complex, but I like it. Its name is the La Survie de l'Espèce. So yeah, but I prefer to make like clay animation for festivals and like yeah, that's my
Nice.
thing.
Are you working on any cool projects right now?
Right now, no. I know I only have my time for the PhD,
Yeah,
and
I can imagine.
yeah, and I have another like side projects with the association that I have. So it's
Yeah.
like more like artistic exchange between Latin America and France. So it's, yeah, I have all the time that I can give to the art.
Do you want to? So you, so I think your life sounds crazy. You're doing a PhD, you are working on an app, and you also run an association. Do you want to? So it's can you just explain what that's all about and some of the projects you worked on?
Yeah, of course. The association is named Guayabo Colectivo, and with them we have different projects. I work with two of them, of the projects of the association. One of them is called Latinograph. So we brought like street artists from Latin America to make big walls here in France. You can like search like latinograph.com. And the other one, it's fanzine, is Disparates, and we make like yeah, we share stories in Spanish and French from different people. I want to share stories and drawings.
Nice, nice. I think that's quite incredible. You're creating all these resources for people to make connections and explore art and everything. That's really honorable. I asked this at the beginning, but what is what is that driving force that really propels you? You mentioned you love stop motion, but is there like a deeper connection to all this? And you're also creating resources for other people. Like, I mean, obviously it's great, but I don't know how to say this in the wrong way, but why?
Yeah, I don't know. I the other day I was thinking, like, was the art like like try to express himself through all the artists, and the artists, nobody knows how, why they do things, all the
Right.
artists, they do,
Yeah.
but they don't know why they do it. I think it's art like possess us and start expressing himself through us, and I think we only have to give him talk.
Yeah. No, I like that. You got to feed the inner artist in you, and you can't really explain why it is. It just is, type of thing. I'm wondering, hearing your journey coming from Colombia, and you had some amazing opportunities when you were little. You know, what if somebody who's listening to this right now kind of feels a little isolated in stop motion, specifically where they live? I keep saying, maybe they're not from the States where Portland or Leica and all that stuff, or they're not in a hub where stop motion is, but they really love this craft and they want to pursue it. What's kind of the first step they can take where they are to try to turn it into something bigger, or even find other people? Because you mentioned in Egypt, there was a lot of stop motion people following each other and they didn't meet up. So what is something that somebody can do right now where they are to try to build something kind of like what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think that the Egypt example, it's the best one, because it was like making something real from nothing, like, because everybody was doing stop motion in their houses, but they don't know, they never meet each other.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is to meet people. Like, I don't know, you follow them, and then you ask them, hey, you want to grab a coffee? I'm also a stop motion animator. And from there you can just start like making a stop motion revolution. I don't know.
Fair enough. Do you have any tips on getting money behind a project? Because I'm thinking back to when I was, a young high schooler, early 20s, wanting to do stop motion and not really having any money, and wanting to work on projects but not knowing where to start either. Is there, you mentioned there's taxes and things, but how do you get some budget behind a project once you have connections?
Yeah, it depends of your level and of your I don't know, the thing that you want. Because if you want, I don't know, to make like short movie of 15 seconds, you don't need a lot of money, so you can just ask borrow and that's it. But if you need to make a series or feature film, well, you have to ask to another country, maybe to work with you, and that's going to be the problem, how to have the trust of the other country to trust you. And that, I think, the most difficult thing is to win the other country's trust.
Right.
And yeah, that, I think that is the problem.
So say, okay, so I think that's interesting. So say I'm a small, or I'm a studio right now and I have a script, I've put a lot of work into this and I'm trying to figure out who to work with. Where do I even start to try to find other production companies that might be interested?
I think you have to start asking to sociologists,
A
because you don't know.
sociologist.
Yeah, because you don't know if your script is going to work in another country.
Ah,
You don't
where do I find
know.
a sociologist?
Yeah, because maybe your script is, you have your imaginary, and you never thought to make the script with the other country. So you don't know how, if the body language can play a role. You don't know if the food, if the religion, if the stories, if the myths, the legends. You don't know nothing. So how you can start making a process with another country to sell something if you don't know them?
So, well, that's where do I find a sociologist?
Yeah, because they can give you some advices
Yeah.
to change your script, or to sell. For example, if you wanted to sell it to, I don't know, to Madagascar, what do you know about Madagascar? Nothing.
Lemurs.
So yeah, so maybe you can just make a research and then ask somebody from Madagascar to start making the script with you,
Gotcha.
and that is going to make a completely new, different story.
Right, but so how do I even find production companies in another country when I don't know anything where to start? Like, maybe I want to work with Madagascar, but I have no idea. I heard maybe Madagascar has great tax breaks and grants and things for animation productions. Could be any country. How do I start? Are there associations for stop
Yeah,
motion or animation that can list
there is
production
going to be
companies?
the first thing of stop motion bus. Yeah.
Yeah, stop motion.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's
full
the thing
circle back to the
actually.
app. All right. So in
The,
2 months, when the
the
beta
answer
launches,
I'm
then
going
I'll
to
know where to
make,
go.
yeah, the answer that I'm going to make is actually that, how I can start making a newest feature film with another country. Yeah, well, that is my PhD.
I love it. That's incredible. I guess one more question from me is something I thought of when you brought up, does the country you're working with have the same stories and legends and storytelling? From your experience with researching stop motion projects in other countries, for me as an enjoyer of stop motion, I watch a lot of stop motion from other countries, but I don't really take note of trends or whatnot. So, in terms of the actual animation itself, have you noticed certain countries approach the stop motion craft differently? So, for instance, like Leica is always super smooth, acting is always a huge deal versus I can't think of another part like South Park, I guess, where acting doesn't matter at all. It's just lips talking. Do certain countries have a certain approach to how they do stop motion, or is it?
No, no, actually, it's a quite an interesting question. I don't think that I have the 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 whole information to understand if there is a country that have all and their own identity of stop motion animation. I don't know. I don't think so, because yeah, I think that the professional companies that want to make stop motion, they want to get really, really close to 3D animation and realistic animation, and everybody wants same thing. So I don't. I think that if there is like research for a known stop motion animation identity, I think there is like for artists and not for countries that can look for it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's interesting to know. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to share about what we've talked about or
Yeah,
things we
I
haven't
think
talked about?
that you asked me where are the two things that I learned so far.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love that question. And I think that the only two things that I really learned from stop motion were patience and persistence.
you, you, that it shouldn't be called stop motion. It should be called patience and persistence.
Yeah, actually it's true.
Do you
Actually,
want to
it's,
expand on that a little bit more? Like, why did stop motion teach you? I mean, I can guess why it taught you those things, but I'm just wondering if you can.
yeah, I think that, yeah, it's when you start animation, when you're going to start your shooting, is like, okay, I have to finish this, and that's going to be the whole day
Yeah.
or the whole week.
Yep.
And that's it. And you mentalize that idea in your inner self, and you go with it. And I think that every stop motion should make you grow up.
Yeah. I definitely resonate with that feeling, especially because you can't. There's got to be a pun in here. You can't stop motion once you start a shot. You have to keep going at it, because if you stop and then take a day off or a few hours off, the lighting might change. You might bump something. Something might fall. The clay might melt. Like, you have to keep going at it. So like for me, when I'm starting a shot, I have to like super get in the zone and be like, all right, I know this is going to last like maybe 6 hours. I need to get out everything I need to from my brain. Like, I need to, play a quick video game or like go for a walk now, because I am going to be totally locked up for the whole day. So yeah, that persistence and patience thing is huge when it comes to stop motion. I don't think other animators really understand that, because you're working on 2D or 3D. You can get up and go back the next day and continue your shot. With stop motion, not at all.
Yeah.
And that applies to so many other things in life. I feel like stop motion has taught me to, like you said, kind of grow up in other areas too, and whatnot. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, I think it's okay for me. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on the chat. It's really interesting to hear your perspective as you're pursuing specifically a PhD in stop motion. That was surprising to me when we first connected, and I think that's awesome.
Thank you, Terry. No, actually, it was fun to know that somebody makes a podcast of stop motion. So,
well, there we go. That's exciting for both of us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the chat. I really appreciate it, and all the best with your studies.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to give you updates with the stop motion bus.
Definitely, I will definitely look up for those. All right, so thank you so much, and that's all for now. Okay, bye.